Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Chase Race presented by WTRL. We're out on Chase Race number 10. He's been going on since December.
Oh,
And new format of racing for WTRL. AutoCat's been used for this to get people into the right categories. Nathan Guerra here, Anna Russell next to me after an awesome day, 2 days of Zwift Racing League. And I wonder if we've got any of the riders out here smashing their legs some more. That's one of the cool things. I think we get a little bit of cross pollination across this.
yeah.
We get a little.
I mean, I'm surprised. I am in the BCAT. There's a lot of chat, and I think it's Tennille Irish from Rave. She is the perpetual racer. She's in there. So I know she raced yesterday. She's racing today, and she'll probably race in the TTT tomorrow. So there are some people who, like we do, Nathan, fall into a bit of a Zwift hole over 3 days where it's commentating. There's so much racing going on, and then you emerge from it, and it's the weekend. So yeah, she's one of those riders. Yeah, I'm surprised.
And then you
there's a lot of
Zwift on the
There's even
weekend
Discord
too.
going
It
on.
sounds like as well, right? Then
Yeah,
you're right
yeah,
back into it,
exactly.
prepping for Tuesday on the next week. So. Speaking of
Exactly.
ZRL, quickly, how did you think? We've got a couple of minutes. We've got 2 minutes until the A's get out on course, and then we'll jump out there. We do have the C's, D's, B's, Pens as well, but we just want to wait till everybody gets out on course and really take a look at where things are at, time gaps, etc. How did ZRL go yesterday, in your opinion, though, Anna?
Oh, it was, yeah, I was a late ring-in for our team. I can't say that course is my absolute favorite. It's pretty tough, but it was good. I mean, I race in America's East. It was pretty hardcore. I think we had a group of 45 coming through right to the end, so it was punchy and hard the whole time. APAC, I was just surprised at how many attacks there were through the whole race. People were just attacking all the time at places I didn't even think, on the back end of the course where it's kind of just an easy sort of, usually you're recovering. That's when, they went full noise and people were attacking. And yeah, it was tough watching, and then it was tough racing. And every race, from what I could see across EMEA, the Wests, every race kind of just played out differently.
Yeah, it did seem that it was a course that did provide a lot of opportunities if you wanted to take them. That's for sure. That what we started marking as the Leandro Messineo move, the poison dart frog move, I think, after Harlem Hill, the descent, and then there's kind of like a longer grind uphill. That attack to the sprint point seemed to be like kind of the go-to that could succeed every single lap. But yeah, it was great racing. Good job to all the racers yesterday. We're about getting into almost the halfway point in the season. TTT next week, so that'll be interesting. I think that's gonna change up how people are, or at least what teams can win for this year, because it's a very different discipline, obviously, team time trial versus points racing, and kind of like those who just have a lot of power and strength and maybe not as much Zwift tactic can come to the forefront and maybe grab some points next week.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed yesterday there's an Olympic runner racing in USA East. So, yeah, she was racing in the Olympics maybe 5-6 years ago. So, and I know you guys in your commentary were talking about a hockey player, and so
Andrew
there are
Ference.
some
there's
there are some
top level
athletes.
Did you catch that
out there
yesterday?
racing.
Did you catch
I
that
did.
yesterday when Dave
I
was
did.
like, these women, I know there's a lot of them who
Yeah.
have hockey
Their
fan
boyfriends.
husbands or whatever, or boyfriends, and they're going to be like really impressed that they're riding. I was like, no, they're impressed that Andrew Ference and that company are impressed that these women are riding with them.
Yeah.
With them. I figured that one would be a little
I liked
appreciated.
that call out there for you.
All right, we're going to get right into it. The A category has just gotten out on course. The B category as well is only, wow, they were given about a minute, not even, actually, between the A's and the B's, interesting enough. Do we have any predictions today, Anna?
Yeah, so I have already predicted on our YouTube chat that it's going to be between the B's and the C's. I think the A's starting quite close behind has changed things up a little. So I said if the A's can get organized, they could be in it. We've already seen someone going off very early off the front. One of our Twitchers, P-Bomb, I think it is. He took a feather up that climb and had a long, strong turn and has managed to pull up the speed a lot.
He's not happy
putting up in
though.
the chat,
He's like, come
guys,
on, guys, let's go.
let's
I mean,
go.
that looks a little bit though like some over expectation situations. Sometimes I get into those a lot of, and if you're just gonna drop everybody early on, it might not be what you want. So you get a little bit of a infighting going on. One more chance and I drop to what? Is he like, what's going on here? There's like literal threats happening in chat between the bees at this point.
Wow, that's usually the bees are pretty friendly. This is not as friendly from P-Bomb, I think it is here. So he's telling everyone he's got the blue hat on. He's got some horrific fashion going on, I've got to say. It's a sort of blue hat and the goggles, which I never like. I wonder if he's got Adidas
you have a
shoes. Good to
teammate who
see.
said something about a nice. Oh, that's not what I'm thinking. Okay, I thought maybe you were saying the beret was there. I was gonna bring up some canyon like a canyon fashion, but it looks. This is even worse. This I have to say.
Yeah.
This is pretty bad. But this almost is like on purpose bad though.
Yeah, this is and the interesting thing, he's gone with the Cervelo. So I'm not sure if people know that Cervelo sort of had its day in the sun for about 6 weeks, and then the group set got changed and it became really heavy. So it lost its speed, and that Cervelo, the Specialized Venge S-Works is actually the better bike on a course like this, although we will see a few Trons. But yes, it's that Cervelo. It was quite a nice bike to have for a few races. It was nice to change it up, but yeah, unfortunately not the fastest anymore. Oh, and there's Tennille Irish.
There she is, showing up again. Brett Boniface is showing up today as well. It was got to be in the A category, I would think. P-Bomb is definitely streaming over on Twitch. I wonder if he's got some rage going on here as well. As he may be a little bit frustrated with everybody, it sounds like here, hammering away. Great to see all the streamers. There's actually a lot of people streaming Zwift right now.
Yeah.
Like I had to scroll for a while, which is really cool to see. Great job, everybody, getting out there and sharing your Zwifting experience.
Yeah, we've got Shafee there as well. I've just seen up in the C category, which these guys are trying to chase down. He's the multiple world champion hand bike rider.
Really?
So shout out to him too. Yeah, so I've seen him in a couple of these chase races. Good to see him out again in the C cat. But this B cat seems to be just mowing down. They are going quite fast. P-Bomb on the front again. Maybe he's watching the stream. He's getting a bit of motivation from being talked about, but he is pushing hard. 6.6 watts a kg. That's pretty full on for a B cat rider.
At 730-ish watts too, so this is a big boy, that's for sure. Hammering away, football player watts going on, it looks like to me here. In the A category, small but very organized. And this week, from what I'm seeing with this A category this week, in weeks past, the same numbers, but my feeling here is that because of who's shown up with these numbers, though, they might be well organized this week to really pull something off. They're doing almost 60K, actually, as they head over to the same section of course that I see these bees on right now.
Yeah, I was actually, I've got my companion app open. I can see the little dots moving around, and these guys are just coming onto that sort of road bridge over to the Italian villas. The A's, potentially, they've got to go around a couple little corners. They could have them in sight before they go up the Italian villa climb on the dirt. So this is good work from the A's, and we know that I think they're sick of us calling out the fact that they're not catching them up. So maybe they've come with a little bit of motivation and organization, especially if they've got Scotty in there as well. He's usually pretty good. But yeah, it's I love the P-Bomb is really chatting there. He's just telling everyone, come on, ebb and flow, push on the front. Look at those A's. I think they will have them in sight. Look, they're just going onto that road bridge now. They're looking good. Boniface there. He's always a great one to have in the pack. Got Leclerc as well from the Plus R team, which I know is performing very well in ZRL.
Yeah, 13.
And we've got some
Young.
Yeah.
Reichert from KC. I just think that there's the right people here today.
Yeah.
Really.
I think
really,
look how much
really
chat
do.
too.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
when they've got all that chat
doesn't
going
like
on.
P-Bomb. He's after P-Bomb. But I think he might not be so after him and mad at him once they make the catch, because I think they will make the catch.
Look at this. This is phenomenal from them. A minute behind, just about a minute 01, I think. So that's I think they're gonna, yeah, they want to catch Berry on the front at around 7.5 watts a kg
Half a
there
K.
from
It's only half a K
BL13.
at this
That
point
is,
too.
wow, that is really fast ride. And they look good, don't you think? Like they just look motivated. You can kind of tell from the structure of the pack that yeah, they're not sort of mucking around like we've seen in other weeks.
Well, they're in TT mode, but with 17 riders, is what it looks like to me, right? Like instead of an 8-person team TTing, they're essentially almost in that formation, but with all 17 riders that are in here with them. Great job by them. Reichert to the front here from KC. That's what you want to see. This German rider is one of the strongest riders we've seen in the world of Zwift racing, coming from Kirchmer Cycling. Boniface is following him up very closely here. It looks like Kenny also from VCRT out of Ireland. Young, Unwin. These are names we call out often. Jay Alexander from WLC, actually one of the winners yesterday from the
Oh,
ZLL
nice.
races. So this is a no joke crew, and I think they've shown up to win for the broadcast. Again, some TV time today.
Oh, I love this. This is looking good. This is what I've wanted to see. I wonder how far now but they are behind the bees. The bees will have to be worried. I am getting notes coming in from the chat that P-Bomb is actually Scotty. So Scotty, who's been chatting and twitching the whole last 9 races, usually very encouraging.
Ah,
Maybe he's got an alter ego
he's
called
going back
P-Bomb
to
where
the
he just
A's. He's going back to the A's. He's mad
seriously.
at the
Oh,
bees. He got mad at the bees, and he's like, "I got you,
oh,
A's," and he's going
wow.
back to them. Oh
Oh my
man,
gosh.
the
And he'll be on
controversy.
Discord too. That's
The
awkward. That's real awkward.
oh, this is interesting. This is getting super interesting now. Here we
Oh,
go.
wow. Okay, we've got a defector. He's left the bees. He is gone, and he has dropped. He's about to get caught by Berry here. He's going to have to be careful though. They're traveling really fast. He's pulling up his watts now, so he is now going to get caught. This is kind of funny. Keeps it interesting, but yeah, I think Peabody might be his alter ego. It's a bit more of a feisty ego than we've seen from Scotty in weeks past.
Yeah, it definitely is. P-Bomb here showing up and not taking it anymore from the B category. Going back to the A's now, and that is going to give a little bit of extra, I think, motivation and power, obviously, to that crew. Let's see if we can jump in with the C category. That's really going to be the
Yeah, I was just
question, I think, at
wondering.
this point. The C category and where they're at. Because these A's on this reverse KOM, they're going to be able to almost see the B's, and they are going to go full gas over the top of this. And I have a feeling this race is already over when it comes to this climb. The C category and whether or not they can stay away, I think, is the real question now.
Yeah, I'm kind of rooting for the A's today because they look good. They're quite motivated. And I think the difference, but we'll see it on the climb, is they seem to be all a bit more of a similar power profile, just from what I'm saying, which means that they'll be able to stay together on the climb a little bit more. I think, though, that P-Bomb or Scotty, I feel like he's made a mistake because I don't know if you saw his comment. Oh no, there's a climb coming up. Yeah, you've got a big climb and you're with a bunch of A's. And this maybe wasn't the best time to drop off in anger. You should have probably gone up the climb with the B's, then dropped off because the rest of it's flat. So I think there might have been a bit of a tactical error. I think he's actually even getting a bit spat out the back now. So, oh, not ideal for P-Bomb. Probably not the best idea. He's already getting dropped off at the foot of the climb. So
Going backwards, maybe some frustration here coming from P-Bomb. That's going to be
oh,
interesting
P-Bomb.
here.
I think he just saw red. The red mist descended, and he didn't make a good decision about when he was going to drop. We can see Tennille there as well has been dropped from the Bs. So this is a fast-moving B group too. I mean, it's not over. The race is not over. The Bs are still moving pretty quickly up this climb where it's flattened out.
And let's take a look and see if we can find the C category here, though. We have found them out on course. Here's the A's that we're looking at, 7.7 kilometers in. The C's, though, they're still 3 kilometers up the road. 16 minutes of racing in for them. So they got a really good gap, obviously. They get a good...
And they've hit that downhill, so they've had a good bit of downhill.
Yeah, that's right. That is very true. So because of that, they are going to have a little bit more of a gap of distance, obviously, because of that intense speed that they can grab. They were doing 70 plus kilometers per hour on this downhill with all of these riders. They're going to take this left hand turn onto the Fuego Flats. And they look really organized today in the C category. This might be their day. They still got plenty of landscape to work with here. It's 29K in total, so we're not even really halfway through the race here at this point. The question is,
Oh, and they've got 30 seconds up to the D's. So
they'll make that catch.
yeah, but I think they made that catch, but they do have Skull up there, the 12-year-old, which is in his name, so he's obviously fine with that. 12-year-old from Virtue Slow. We've talked about him a bit, actually. He does well in these chase races, and we could see a little flyer from him because he's riding very quickly up that little grade that these C's are now on, but it's down already. As we've been talking, it dropped from 30 seconds. We're now at almost 25 seconds. So you're right, the catch will be made, but not easily. You can see Skull is already pushing pace very hard off the front. They're going about 33k an hour though, so C's 38. The catch will be made.
Yeah, they can almost see him in sight here. We'll get a side-by-side view, give you guys an idea of exactly where things are at. 22 seconds is the gap here. The bridge off in the distance that you see the C category on the right-hand side just crossing. The D's just leaving it and heading into the sign section. We'll see if we can see real quickly here where that sign is for the C category.
Is that Debbie Woods Turner?
Just checking it.
You've got on
screen? That is going to be
D.
Yeah, that is going to be D Woods Turner.
I wonder if it's Debbie Woods Turner. She's great if it is her.
It is a woman. It is a woman.
Oh, I think it must be Debbie then. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Debbie Woods Turner. Cryogen. Yeah, she's great. So she's actually an A cat women's racer, but C cat when it's mixed. And yeah, she is so enthusiastic about Zwift and really encouraging. She's always kind of messaging me to say like congrats and just a cool member of the community. So great to see Debbie out there. That's really cool to see.
Yeah, I do think we get a lot of the mainstay of the Zwift community jumping into this specific zone for the chase race. You know, when we have the broadcast on as well too, I think a lot of them that are aware, like, hey, let's go be a part of this, which is absolutely great to see because I see all these really familiar names throughout the each one of these groups. It's really great, and it is growing. You know, it's like they had that initial kick where we had tons and tons of people, and then I think like this steady group mainstay starts showing up, and then from there it kind of like builds out a little bit more after the initial
I think
hype, if that makes sense.
What we found is we had the races before the Zwift Racing League, and then I think now this is showing that people, I think probably they do the Zwift Racing League, and then it's just a little bit too much on some of the leagues to back it up.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, I think what you'll see is when it's in between seasons of ZRL, is people will come on here as their kind of race fix during the week to keep that fitness up without having like a sort of big tactical race. It's more sort of like a threshold effort. So yeah, I think it's just timing wise. These guys obviously have diamond legs that they're able to just back up a day of racing with another day of racing. Seeing the catch made here though, the C's and the D's.
Diamond legs. I like that. That's going to be a new one here. Diamond legs cutting through the competition here as they do make the catch, push through. Morrison's saying he does not want these D's to hang out with him for too long, so he's just going to push right on by, or at least not slow down, because you still have the A category and the B category coming on strong. My question is, has the catch been made with the B category yet? We might have missed that as we watch this catch. Let's go ahead and head back over to our friend Brett Boniface and see if he can give us any idea of where things are at when it comes to that B category. No, the catch has not been made yet, but we do see them picking up stragglers here and there. The A's have been going so hard, though, that they have whittled down their pack at this point. Reichert, a rider you would never think to struggle, is actually off the back at this point. He's going to have to jump across right now. You do not want to lose this rider. This is some serious firepower, and I'm not sure it's even going to be worth it. I mean, T. Hill off the back, McCombie here as well. I mean, this has obviously been a very... Now, Boniface, man, I know you want to go fast, buddy, but 6.263 with 1 second, dude. You got 23 meters on these boys.
Yeah, I just saw that there was a little red dot that had gone off the front. This is what lets down the A's a little bit. They kind of, I don't know, maybe egos get involved and they just start pushing off and getting frustrated, and it pushes too hard. There's no benefit right now of being that solo rider off the front. you need to stay as the group. So that's a little bit frustrating. And it's also not good for like group morale, someone going off the front, then they just start racing each other. That's not what we want to see. So yeah, not great there from the A's. They are really closing in on the Bs, but not as quickly as
200
I kind of
meters, I think it
thought.
said.
So
I think it's 200 meters at this
yeah,
point.
and the risk for the A's is they're kind of in that the terrain that the Bs will like, just flat desert terrain. They could just put down watts, keep going. That's kind of the difference I find between the Bs and the A's. Are the Bs are good at those raw watts, and the A's just seem to be a bit better at the climbing. But you can see them there. The A's got a lot of Tron bikes. They're kind of glowing there in the distance. 10 seconds. I mean, they'll make the catch, but Boniface just they've caught up now, so that's okay. But I don't know.
There is a risk where the organization can just fall apart, though. That is a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like where all of a sudden your speeds were in the in the 48 to 50s, and then people start getting frustrated with each other, stop taking polls, you drop to 3 to 4, and in the B category, I think right now they have enough people that even if there was frustration or disorganization, you could end up in a situation where they are being caught, though. It looks like that's the main Bs. So that conversation may be ending at this point. But you got enough bodies where people, even if there is frustration, somebody's going to take over at the front. The A's, though, it looks like they've done it. It's been a while since we've seen this, actually. The A category has not had this kind of a race in a long time. So now it's going to be really the question between this A category that just made the catch on the Bs and catching that C category that's still 2.5 kilometers up the road.
Yeah, I've just seen a lot of comments coming in. They're saying this is actually their fave race to watch on our broadcast, and it'll definitely take off again in between ZRL seasons, especially if it's broadcast. People will be on it. So there we go, Nathan. There's some kudos to keep the broadcast of the chase race going. People are obviously loving this format to watch.
I appreciate that. I mean, because if I'm super honest, after yesterday, I go, are we doing this? I'm like, are we really doing that? Okay. I mean, that's really it, because I'm not sure if that's actually how people feel about it. So that's awesome to hear. Really appreciate that. I see that from Doug.
Yeah, it's good.
Carson Ivany as well. That feedback is always super, super appreciated. Carson Ivany has done a really good job, everybody, with the Discord. Actually, and I think it's starting to take off a little bit, where it is becoming kind of the main hub because he's put the work in. A lot of people make a Discord channel, and up front, I got to just be honest. I've made a Discord, I've done this, and it's really easy to make a Discord. It's really easy to make a Facebook page. It's really easy to make a Facebook group or wherever you're going with some sort of online communication space. To manage it, though, and make sure that there's something always kind of going on there that makes sense to try and give direction and admin it, that's a whole nother question. So, a lot of times when people come at me with that, I go, well, let's see. He's put the work in, and I definitely think that that's going to be a space where he's motivated. So I would definitely be on the watch out for the links for that. If you're looking for a Discord for the chase race, he's done a great job of keeping that organized.
Yeah, it's really good work. I've got to say the Discord channels, I've been added to a few just for guest rides and things. Got added to the Rave channel. You've done one of theirs, their recon rides. Wow, that channel is lit. So they said you might want to mute it, which I did because, whoa, that was, there is a lot of chat, which is so good to see. I know the NZ Bro chat is the same. I had to mute that one. I was like, wow, I go on, there's like 120 messages sort of. So these teams in the background on Discord is pretty insane, and you could see that the Discord here could kind of get up to this point too, especially I think when you go into prime chase race season, which will be in between those ZRLs, I think, and people find a bit of camaraderie with their category mates, I think.
This is what it feels like in the Rave Discord, just so everybody knows. It's like nonstop party. Whoa, my gosh! Like, if you get into the Rave Discord, just be ready. You've suddenly entered a European dance club nonstop 24/7. So it's like back in with the C's at 18 kilometers now, 26 minutes in. They're being chased down. There's a 2K difference at this point. The race is on now between C's, B's, A's. They've mixed it up together now at this point. Going off the front, it's going to be Unwin at 5.7 watts per kilogram. as well as a B category rider. Not sure who
Christensen.
that
It's our
is.
Christensen rider. The one, remember him and his, I'm going to say brother, broke
Oh
away
yeah,
that other week.
DCC.
And
Good call.
yeah, it's one of the Christensens. Yep, there we go. So he's a great rider. He loves these solo attacks. Again, not sure it's best for the group, but it keeps it motivated. They'll start chasing him down. Whoa, even actually that move he had took the gap from 30 seconds down to 13 seconds now. So I mean, that's pretty good. T. Berry from the A's also getting frustrated, saying, "Come on, A's, you need to work. You guys do. You've got the higher category than the B's. There should be an A rider here off the front. Unfortunately, they've settled into their little rhythm of sitting in the pack once they catch up. So, yeah, it's Reichardt is now moving to the front. We thought he might have got dropped, but he's pushing in, and they're saying, T. Berry, I'm just loving this guy. We are one team now. Yes, you are. B's and A's. You're the bar team. And there we go. Looks like Christensen is catching that C group.
Catching up to the C group, a little bit of a push off the front. Maybe gave some motivation to some, but they're only doing 4.9 and 4.8 now, interesting enough. So they've kind of settled down. They have brought back
the C group.
No, it's not the main C group. No, it's not. It's a C. Okay. Yeah, it's a C straggler group for sure. Barry pushing right on through. This is what we need to see. 6.4. That's what we need to see.
Yeah.
Right. We do not need this 4.9 on the front, really. And if you allow the Bs to take over at the front without really being the not that you don't want to allow them to put in some work, but if it's not the level that you need for the speed, I mean, if I'm in a TTT at an A to A plus level, my full expectation on Fuego Flats is 48 minimum the whole time through. When it comes to kilometers per hour, they dropped well below that for a little while. So if they want to make this catch, they're gonna be running out of landscape eventually. Once we leave Fuego Flats and they leave Titans Grove and head down that downhill, and they're not within striking distance, they're at risk of losing for sure. They need to close as much time down right now as they can.
Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about Thomas Berry here. He's a countryman of mine from New Zealand. And he has got some pretty impressive numbers. A sprint of 16.26 watts per kg, which is, I mean, I'm not up to speed with men's watts per kg for sprinting, but that just seems insane to me.
No, that's like, that's in sprinter, pro land for sure.
Yeah, and he's also got a 20-minute power of 5.61 watts per kg. So that's pretty impressive too, in my mind.
I mean, he's a part of BL13, right? Like, I mean, this is that group that put together one of the most classic moves of all time.
I know. It's, are you talking about the Legion crit move? Was that the one?
Legion crit move, yeah. The Legion crit move.
We all know that one. It's gone down in infamy. But he's a legit cyclist too. He rides, looks like it could be for the Fagan Motors cycling team, local New Zealand cycling team. Hails from Wellington, where you're basically battling wind, rain all the time, all year round. Wellingtonians, correct me if I'm wrong. But so he's obviously a very tough as nails cyclist. So good to see Thomas also uptaking into the Zwift game and really, really pushing it.
Loving it. And BL13, definitely a team that I'm watching out for this season. They have been wanting and just nipping at the heels of trying to get into Prem. And, we were talking at the beginning of the broadcast about you've got teams that, maybe we weren't talking about it at the beginning of the broadcast. Maybe we'll leave that one alone. But there's this idea of like, I think I'll open up that box a little bit here. So, there's, in my own personal life, racing professionally, there's domestic racing, there's continental racing, and then there's world level racing, right? And at each level that I raced at, I've raced at each level, and the commitment of my life and how much other things in my life that I could actually do changed drastically from each level, right? And I think that BL13, from what I watch with them, have a contingent within their team that could go to that commitment level to be at the top end of Premier. But to be at the top end Premier, there's huge sacrifice that I think you see a lot of these teams that stay in the community side. I think that Riot would be one of these, probably, Anna. You can tell me whether or not. That stay on the community side because domestic level elite or continental level elite and the commitment that it takes of your life, because we're talking about creating premise pro world level. You have Ashley Moomin Passio racing there for a reason,
Hmm.
right? She's the world champion. Her whole life is bike racing. She's on a world tour team. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference
Yeah.
there between what's happening. And so I pick up on these teams though that seem to have that ethos that says, no, this is something that we can fully commit to as our, as a little more than just a hobby, I'll say.
Yeah, and I think this is what we did talk about is you see teams get pushed up, they do well in the community league and then they go up to Prem and it is totally different. It is a professional league, basically. I mean, they're racing for prize money. A lot of the teams have sponsors. There's a bit more commitment that comes with it. So whereas community, like, if you've had, case in point yesterday for my team, one of the teammates woke up sick. I was supposed to be DSing. She messaged, 2 hours before the race, any chance you can do it? Oh, yeah, sure, I can jump in. That is not something you can do in Prem. Your team is locked down. Before the race, you can't be making like slight adjustments like this. And it's just, yeah, it is a next level sort of source of racing. And you're right, like these community teams, like we're seeing here from Thomas Berry, I've just been looking at their about info for BL13. They have got ex-national level, what is across archery, athletics, cycling. So they will have those people who actually want to take it to the next level. And the good thing about it is that, you said when you're racing at World Cup, you've got to take your family to all the races. It's the same for me when I was racing professionally. It was traveling around the world. Like I didn't have kids at the time, so I could leave for a couple of months and base myself overseas. But it's a lot of commitment. Zwift racing, not so much, and that you can for me, go downstairs into your pain cave and race a little bit and come back upstairs and the family's still all in the same house. But I
Good
would
point.
say, yeah, like it's still if I'm racing at 6 a.m, I've got to get up at 4, do the weigh-ins, check everything out, like it's, there's a little bit more of that sort of stress around the sides of it at that level.
Yeah, so that is one access point though for sure. From the from home, the travel part is not nearly as strenuous. When it does come to the top level racing in Zwift, obviously, until perhaps we do start our in real life esports events again. We'll see what changes up there. I mean that might also be a reality that might change things too. But I definitely think that is going to lower that entry barrier for sure and allow a lot more people to be involved with that. I mean, there's and great examples. I mean, Kristen Kolchinsky would be an example of somebody who's got a full-time jewelry business. I know she works her butt off in that as well as having obviously full focus on being one of the top athletes within the premier division. So that's a cool thing also is that it can be done that way. The only thing is that you still have that extra pressure, extra time, and kind of I'll just say it again, like it's more than just a hobby. It's more than even just a sport. It does start becoming another job in some ways at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be interesting when and if it could get to the point where it could be a job, like could the sponsors come on enough that, teams can actually pay riders to ride. I mean, that's the kind of path that you have usually with other sports, right? Sort of you start off and it's sort of a fun league, then you add a little bit of prize money and then a couple of sponsors come on and then maybe a big sponsor comes onto a team and that kind of changes the game a little bit. So that's where, it's going to keep lifting and lifting and lifting. But yeah, looking at, I just wanted to say back to this chase race, this is not looking great for the B's and A's actually catching these C's. The C main group is 2 minutes still up the road.
Yeah,
I
we talked
mean,
about this, right? We talked about
yeah.
this would be the section, the moment of truth. And I thought, okay, so I would say that if they're on Fuego Flat still, right, when they are leaving, so it's right on the edge right now, in my opinion. Because my opinion on this was if they were still on the flats when they left Titans Grove, then it's no go. But they are entering Titans Grove, the BA category, while they're just leaving Titans Grove. So I think it's still within striking distance, but this is going to come, I think, literally right to the line. We're talking about 1K difference at this point, and they only have Ocean Boulevard to make it up. I like what Christensen is doing here, actually, to be honest. a lot of times I'd say not helpful, but I think he's kind of lighting a fire underneath them. Like, guys, we can't mess around anymore. Let's go.
Yeah, they've got to go. Yeah, this is I don't know. It's I kind of feel like I'm saying it every week that the A's just and the B's almost lose a bit of momentum when they catch each other. I think when the A group was smaller, they were able to sort of talk to each other directly and be able to sort of motivate each other, take turns, treat it more like a TTT. Then they catch the B's, and also almost like the motivation goes. We are seeing Rijkaard here moving to the front, which is good. Berry on his heels. So I think they've got a little bit of motivation. But yeah, every time this catch is made, it's sort of like they all just sit up a bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Or perhaps, they expected a little bit more out of the A's, or they used so much energy just to catch the B's, and it's like, oh, cool, we actually caught the B's. Because usually it's the BC category that's playing for the win, and they're like, oh yeah, this is already in the bag. No, this isn't even close in the bag. Barry to the front here, 7 watts per kilogram. He sees the writing on the wall at this point. 43 kilometers per hour. They're coming from that C category now. And they're still bringing back time. It's under a K now, but they're only bringing back about 100 meters per minute. I'm not sure they've got enough minutes left.
Yeah, we've got about 29 kilometers as well. So this is not looking
3K?
great. I mean,
can they do 3K over
2.5K even? I don't think so. I think the way it's looking, and they need to be having people like they were doing before the A's. They kind of, and I criticized it a little bit, but it's almost what they need now is they need the people to just go off the front, like some flyers going off at 5 watts a kg, pushing, forcing the pack speed to chase. That brings up the speed. They kind of pass, the next person goes. But yeah, it's they're not looking good to make this catch, which is unreal because that A group was looking so strong. I almost think the psychology of it, if the A's didn't catch the B's, if they just ignored the B's completely and just carried on with their game plan through the B's all the way, they would actually do this. It's kind of unfortunate that motivation goes because I honestly think the C's and D's have got it.
I don't think it's even possible anymore. Yeah, I mean this is said and done. Because look at where these A's are at. They're not even closing. They're not closing down anymore. 5.3 on the front. And I almost feel like the B category have made it worse. I'm sorry to say B category, but they're pulling through at a very low watt per kilogram. That's slowing the A's. The A's should, like you said, they should have just carried on with their TTT type effort and said, forget it. Cause their speeds would have been over 48 the entire time. They're dropping below 46 over and over again. The C's, they're about to hit that climb out, and the A-B category are just entering Ocean Boulevard. So great job to the C's. They made it work, and they really, they have stuck to their guns and kept the pace high, whereas I really feel like A-B category, I think it was within grasp, and they kind of dropped the ball in the back end of that Fuego Flats.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. They when they rode that first part up to the B's, that was perfect. And they should have been able to keep going. Here we've got these Hail Mary attacks off the front. This is good to see, though. This is an early attack here from Brooks, from ART. I always want to kind of do this attack myself, but I feel like it never really works because it goes into like a little bit of a downhill drag, and then it actually kicks up. And if you've burnt a lot of matches, that up kick is a little bit hard to sort of get around. It's always a little bit early, but he could look okay here. We've got Bloomendale there, not really chasing him down. Scotty from Herd also. They're kind of just letting him hang, which is always a bit unfortunate. But he's dropped a little. It could be fatiguing. He's got 2 seconds. Not sure it's going to be enough.
2 seconds at 2.9. If he would have been able to continue on at over 3.5, maybe here, but I think that the Rocket and the rest of this C category are going to make the catch, and it's going to be an all-out sprint. Good go by Brooks here from ART, but no go, I think, here. Auger now, 5 watts per kilogram real quick, it looks like, from Canada over the top of him. Trying to push the pace, maybe try and make something happen here. Just going to be a little bit of a lead out, it looks like, rather. Jansky Drust there from Evo out of Germany now coming over the top. Who's going to take the sprint here? Any predictions? You got some...
I'm desperately heading over to Zwift Power and ranking them on their 15-second power. And we've got a Chisholm McDonald or a Ben Hunter or a Marcus Kammerman. That's who we're looking at. They've got around over the 13 watts per kg. So keep an eye on them. Although I love the name The Rocket. I feel like it's saying something.
The Rocket is a great name here. Here comes Simonus now from TV. 11 watts per kilogram coming from him. One of the D category riders, though, out front. That's the beauty of all this, is that the D category might be able to take this out. MPE 360, though, right to the line. I think it's going to be this D category rider.
Yes!
I'm not even actually sure who that was, though. I'll have to double check here because I didn't have it updated on the rider nearby list, but D-Cat ends up winning on the day. It might have been.
That was phenomenal. Great job. Oh, I love that. Go the D's. Is that?
Yeah, the whole time you're thinking C. That's so great. You know, you're thinking the C's. Oh, yeah, they made the catch, but no go. Piranha here. What's happening? Where'd this guy come from?
Wow.
Where did was he off the front this whole time? Like, what happened here? Who's Piranha?
He's a piranha. There we go. He's gone.
He's in the competition.
I feel like we've talked about him before because he's on an entry-level bike, but he races really well. So, yeah, maybe new to Zwift, but great already. Probably good watts. Bouse here from SBSD. He's coming through. Rijkaard, one of our big A riders from today. Looks like he's crossed the line about 5th in that group, but unfortunately didn't make the win. So that was a D-Cat rider today.
D category. Oh, my goodness. Amazing. That was one of the funner chase races to actually broadcast because it kept up. Like some of the chase races, like, oh, this is what's going to happen. Like even from the start, you're like actually, Anna, you show up, you're like, no, this is what's happening, and then that's just what happens. You're like, okay, well, that's what happened. You know, it's like you're giving a really boring business speech to your, or whatever. Like, we're going to tell you what we're going to tell you. We're going to tell you what we told you we're going to tell you. Here's what we just told you. But instead, the more exciting ones are when it's, a situation where things change up throughout, gets really dynamic. We thought the A's up front were going to make it happen, and no go.
Yeah, and there's been a little bit of chat about that. People agree it's kind of the psychology of the catch. So they've made the catch, then they just lose a bit of motivation and drive, and then and then that's the story. You just had the C's and the D's, and surprised a D won it. That was great to see as well. I mean, we've had one surprise D win in this season. Remember that guy who kind of shot off the front and we never even saw him? But this one, we saw the D winner. We don't get them that often, so it's always a bit of a special day when we see that yellow jersey cross the line in first.
Marco Skull is who that's going to be. MPE 360 ADZ from Pay to Z takes second. Pete Brooks for third. That's the situation there. It was Moag Piranha, actually, was that rider in the B category. Jordy Boss up ahead of Patrick Molinari and Simon Rigby for that sprint. Interesting enough, it was a lot of B category riders who were ahead of all the A's who probably wasted all of their matches making the catches.
Chasing.
Yeah, and then the B's the B's totally played them. Just sat in on them and then end up taking them out at the line.
But the B's, you're taking them out in a chase sprint. Who cares? Come on, B's. Come on, let's go. Like you should have, when the A's caught, you guys should have worked together. People were saying you're one group now. Yep, lose the A-B friction. Go for it next time. We want to see the B's push. Come on, I'm sitting in the B pen. I'm usually a B fan, but I didn't like the way they rode it today.
I really appreciate everybody in the comments. I see a lot coming through. It's the perfect that's after ZRL. Get your intensity early in the week. Micro taper for Tuesday. It's good to hear Zafar. Zafar says Tuesday ZRL, Wednesday chase rate, Thursday today. Makes a great week. Week so great for us. You guys are awesome. A's working still. Thomas Berry's in chat actually letting us know. Good to see.
Oh, awesome.
Good to see him hanging out there as well. The Fast Life, good to see you as well in the chat. I think the psychology you guys are bringing in, that whole idea is 100% right there. Thomas is saying that they didn't play well with us. Everybody's got to get in the sandbox and build the castle here. You guys are going to be the kings of the day. Let's go. So
yeah, exactly. Just what I said there. A bit disappointed with the B's. They're usually my crew, but not so impressed with them today. And I'm very, very impressed with how the D's and the C's rode.
You heard it here first, everybody. There is now a Zwift Community Live Club. They are limited to 100. I'm going to get a bunch of requests probably. But there's now a Zwift Community Live Club. It's got nobody in it but me at this point. But we
Aw.
most likely are. Well, I'm not inviting anyone. I actually am not. like I've kept it
I've
until
invited
this.
hundreds.
I'm not inviting anyone. No, like I'm leaving it to the people who hear this, right? That are a part of the broadcasts, because that's the people that should be a part of the club. Once we hit that
Nice.
100, we'll maybe see if we can go beyond that. But I'm gonna just put out the idea that we have and see what happens in chat. I think.
Sweet, go for it.
Race live race. So for those who've been around for a while, you'll remember we had racer point of view streams. Like it was racer point of view streams. Well, now we've went all straight esports commentary. We want to kind of mix those two, but with race recons. Yeah, so be on the watch out for that. Join the club. The links also, though, to the club events will be public, so anyone can get in. You don't have to be in the club in order to get into these events and do a race recon. But you'll also get some live whiteboard knowledge during that recon while one of us suffers. That's the idea. One of us is suffering. There's de-essing going on, and we'll have the weekly whiteboard move. What's the weekly whiteboard
I need to get a bigger
move?
whiteboard. Oh, I like it. I need to go buy a bigger whiteboard today.
Absolutely. So, in the weekly whiteboard move, that'll be like the thing that everybody can try, and you can blame Anna. Just blame Anna.
Oh,
Or,
no.
thanks, Anna. Thank you, Anna. It worked. Oh, no, it didn't work.
I want more of the thanks, not the blame. Go with the thanks.
Love it. Hey, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. You know how it goes. Push the buttons, subscribe, follow, comment, like. It helps us a ton. Anna, thanks a lot for hanging out. It was so much fun for this chase race. 100%. TTT is tomorrow. Watch out for this weekend. We'll be doing some live DSing for sure. Not here on ZCL, but over on some other channels. But also watch out for that race recon. Maybe start it up this week. Otherwise, maybe for next week. But thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, people's right on. Thank you.